Hi, I'm Jerry Carter with the Sierra Crest Business Law Group. I want to talk today about the top 4 things you should be thinking about if you are looking to sell a piece of commercial property, such as a commercial building. The other way to get paid is with seller financing, which means that your buyer is going to give you a little bit of cash, and then the rest of the purchase price, they're going to give you a promissory note. They're going to promise to pay you money over time. Some sellers think that that's advantageous because then they're spreading out the income over multiple years and they can use that money as it comes in. So the first thing you need to be thinking about as a seller is how are you going to get paid? And there's really 2 ways. One is you can receive cash on the barrelhead when you close the transaction. It could be a combination of buyer cash and bank cash, but you get paid in full on the day you close. The second way is what we call seller financing, which means that you receive some of the cash at the closing, and then the rest comes in the form of a promissory note from your buyer. And the buyer is basically promising to pay the money over time. And the thing to make sure about when you're taking money over time is you have to be secured. And in Nevada, one thing you can do is ask for a mortgage or a deed of trust, which means that if your buyer doesn't pay on time, you have the right to give notice and then sell the property and use the proceeds of the sale to pay off the loan. Another form of security would be a personal guarantee from one or more of the buyers or the buyer's representatives. The second thing to think about when you are selling commercial property is what promises are you making to the buyer about the condition and the state of the building and the land. There are lots of things that go wrong with old buildings, even new buildings, and with land. There can be environmental contamination. Some of the systems may not be up to par. And so what you need to make sure is that you're making adequate disclosure to the buyer about what the exact state of the situation is with the land and the buildings, and also that you're not over-promising, that you're not promising a condition that really doesn't exist for the property. Because what will happen is if you over-promise, then after you sell the property, your buyer is going to come back to you and say you committed fraud or you breached your agreement because I have all these problems with the building, and you just don't want that in your life. The third thing that you should be thinking about as a seller of commercial property is what is your tax strategy. If you are selling the building for more than you originally bought it for, you're going to have a capital gain that's going to be taxed unless you have a strategy. One common strategy is to take that gain and invest it into a new building in the form of what's called a 1031 exchange, and so that you can roll over into the new building without paying capital gains tax at that time. There are other strategies, and you definitely want to have a tax strategist on your team. And then number 4, you should strongly consider having an attorney on your team. And the main reason is that sales of commercial buildings, commercial real estate can be problematical and often result in post-closing disputes and even lawsuits. And so the money you pay to an attorney to document the sale properly will pay big dividends if it avoids some problem after you closed, and especially if it avoids a lawsuit after you close. Another reason why you need an attorney on your team is to make sure that you get paid what you're owed. And then yet another reason to have an attorney on your team is just so that you can sleep at night knowing that your transaction is being documented properly and that you're being looked after and taken care of in the transaction. If you have any questions about selling your commercial real estate, your property, we would love to answer those. Give us a call.